podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts radio network, kingofpodcasts.com.
While WWE's main event picture is getting a little more lethargic and predictable, the fan base, the influencers, are becoming increasingly juvenile and delusional.
Woo! Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the King of Podcasts Radio Network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
And welcome to the program. King of Podcasts here with you. kingofpodcasts.com is the website. The show's available from the website and all around the world through all various wonderful podcast partners. The distributions such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, among others. And I hope you had a chance to go to that. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers, youtube.com @King of Podcasts. Please go ahead and do that. And join me on there. And if you're listening on there, welcome. Thanks for being on, and thanks for the comments and all that good stuff. And I think we're going to go to the YouTube channel real quick and take some comments that I got from my episode on Saturday night. Because I did do an unabridged, and I was kind of like just not even thinking about doing a post show for Saturday Night's Main Event or Collision, but I finally could go ahead and talk about something that was really positive. And, you know, the audience, I guess they resonated well with me doing that, because we talked about the fact that Jacob Fatu had a great performance. Maybe not a great performance, but it was a great showing for him, really positioning right now into a main event picture with a win over Braun Strowman on Saturday Night's Main Event. That was important. And then over on AEW Collision, Toni Storm revealing herself as timeless once again in the lead up to a match against Mariah May for the Women's World title at Grand Slam Australia in 2 weeks' time. So all that was there. Wonderful stuff. If you didn't get a chance to go and listen to it, please do. But I will take a couple of comments that were made about that show and some of the other things I've already talked about anyways. Now, referring to last week's show, that was juvenile and delusional, toxic WWE fans, WWE fandom exposed over AEW roster moves. And one of our more common commenters here wrote about it, and that was James Batten 9854. So I want to go and take what he said. He went through pretty expansively on what he said, so I'll go and read it for you. He says, number one, Meltzer's full of crap, and fans know it. This is the era of entertainment properties, including wrestling, feeling upwards. That is the one reason Tony is still around, because it sure as hell isn't quality or ratings. AEW was the version of wrestling that Meltzer said would work in this country. It hasn't. As a matter of fact, smart booking never does. Also, is constant moving of the goalposts for the one organization dumb enough to keep on the inside has actually encouraged the AEW hate. Frankly, he's in patient zero for this juvenile fan base, because he was the first to behave this way, and he opened the door for people like Sean Ross crap to infiltrate it. That's what James is saying here. He wrote it that way. Just to be clear. I know Sean Ross Sapp. Overall, Dave Meltzer is as much of a voice of reason as a crack addict is a model citizen, and he should be shunned entirely out of this business for his betterment. I mean, you take Dave Meltzer for what he is. The one thing is he has contacts, he has connections. As for his opinion in AEW, I mean, I understand that what his feelings are on the types of wrestling matches that are out there, and where when you have watched wrestling in various formations like he has, and whether he likes what he saw in Japan or what he saw in America when it was WWF or WCW or World Class or, you know, all these other organizations, you know, I understand he's not everybody's cup of tea. He's not going to have the same opinion, but the opinion is enough to make people get stirred up. So people like James obviously don't have a problem saying that, but like, you know, and Meltzer, to his credit, also does like to subject himself to Twitter Q&As where he gets pretty roasted, or he has to go and come back and have to go back and attack people in the other way around. But you know what? It's the way to keep him relevant and to keep his Wrestling Observer newsletter so prominent. Listen, for what it's worth, they're doing a conference, at WrestleMania in Vegas, right? And Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez have done a pretty damn good job of keeping themselves relevant out of all this time. And I can't say that's easy for other wrestling shows to do the same, because there have been some shows I've had that were very prominent when I first started this program, and they fell by the wayside. I just don't hear about them anymore. Now, I'm not going to go name names, but it's what's happened. And then we have the new crux, a new generation of fans here, or fans that became podcasters or streamers and all this stuff, that have a completely different view. And there's a real difference between older fans and younger fans. The fans that are of the streaming generation that might have watched all of Raw and SmackDown, and they might have a chance to go ahead and binge through everything that was going on, or watch all the documentaries and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, fans like me, we watched it all. And there are those that are in the middle ground, right? They might have been watching in the 80s, 90s, but they also have a different opinion. Because when you have fans that are two different ways. One, they're WWE loyalists to a fault. And that's why I don't want to be. I can't be that. I've always respected the brand. I've always respected what they do and a lot of what they've done. And for me, I'm also going to say that we don't have the level of mainstream success that professional wrestling has right now without Vince McMahon. So am I a little bit hesitant to go ahead and be completely throwing Vince McMahon under the bus completely? Yeah, because he's contributed plenty. And so for that matter, until I see something that in a court of law, he has been shunned. Don't give me the civil lawsuits, but criminal lawsuits, okay? If he was going to be punished, then he was going to be punished, but I don't know. Everybody wants to go after him, and they're going to continue to go after him. That's fine. And they think that's enough of the accusations. Is he a good person? No. Hulk Hogan in the same vein. But I will never take away what they did before all this crap. I won't. It's just not my nature. It's not what I do on this program anyway. Now, the other thing I got to also say when it comes to the fact of AEW and its existence, no matter what, whatever you could say or think about AEW in the first place, make no mistake, we need an AEW to be around. Because the thought of the last 6 years or 7 years without having any other company for all these wrestlers to go and be a part of, let alone have other programming that at least gives us an alternative to the run of what WWE offers us, because we are subjected to different styles of wrestling and stars that would not get this opportunity unless we watch them on Wrestle Kingdom or Ring of Honor somewhere else, or some other program we have to go find on Triller or on YouTube. I'm just saying, I'm happy that AEW's around. I'm happy that they have been able to sustain. They are on a downswing right now. Now, there's a lot of reasons why we can go and say that, but I'm going to table that for a little bit later. We won't get into it right away. I mean, we can go and bring it up about it now because James did bring it up here. So I'll continue with his comment on here. He says that the fans' anger at Tony Khan's roster management comes to the lie that they told themselves years ago. The AEW fans swore that Tony was nothing like Vince. They ignored those who knew better when they said that Tony is just like Vince. He is just new at the game. Now those former Tony Khan loyalists are learning the hard way. I'm going to just say it like this. From the get-go, I already knew that there was going to be a built-in part of the fan base that was rejecting what WWE was doing right at that point in 2016, 2015, 2017, right? They were complaining about the gimmicks and what was going on and the stagnation of the roster at that time and all the part-timers coming back constantly. We all complained about that. It's just the way it was. Vince's booking was just, or his oversight of booking was not working well. And we went through all that to the point we also got exhausted to try and get Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman to become executive producers to see if we can go somewhere else with it. But things just kept changing, and it was like, we're not getting any better at it. But then when you saw some of the stars that just decided, we're going to just leave, when Cody and Chris Jericho and all these others decided to go and bail out, when John Moxley all decided to bail out too, it was like, remember what they were doing when they were on the way out? It was like, They were in some bad places. So you remember Dean Ambrose with the gas mask, right? Or Cody Rhodes still doing Stardust or whatever else he was doing, whatever he could try to do to keep himself over. And Chris Jericho, just on another exile like he always does. He would come away, he would be gone and go back and do something else or be off with Fozzy, whatever it was. So when AEW and the formation of it came around, of course, the initial response of Young Bucks, Cody, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, that was a great honeymoon period for about a good year and a half. And then they found ways to kind of sustain that honeymoon period with CM Punk, right? A couple of years later. But then everything kind of just went like it did when CM Punk was brought in and then he left. And like we've had all that right there. So look, for CM Punk, it works out for him great. He got a chance to reestablish himself back into the ether of professional wrestling. And now he is possibly getting a chance to go ahead and work the Royal Rumble this time around. Hopefully he can stay healthy in this match. And he's going to confront Seth Rollins. And either CM Punk will win the Royal Rumble this weekend, or we'll see Seth Rollins and CM Punk have the feud that they should have had last year because of how it was set up. So that's all being said and done. Fine. Okay. But I already knew that those fans that were bitter at WWE right there, it was just going to be a matter of when things changed around, when WWE would go into an upswing, which happened after COVID. When you had just the return of live shows, that changed everything. But even at that point, we already had the bloodline in place. And then the bloodline with a crowd changed everything. And it just became different. We got just a much bigger setup. Plus we had Bianca Belair. Plus we had Becky Lynch. Plus we had so much more going on. And the rise of Rhea Ripley. And all the other things were going on. Like there was a lot to go on. The Judgment Day. All this, right? There was a lot of things were being done. And WWE was able to get more into an upswing. They had the deal on SmackDown. We're on Fox. They were doing much better. And again, there was a lot of praise going on. And AEW was kind of like mowing along, doing its own thing. But the loyalists that were upset decided, okay, we're going to defect to the WWE, but they're always going to go back. You can't tell me they were going to go back. They are. Because the style, what they're used to watching, they're just waiting for their favorite brand to go and get back and be up. It's like a team that's having a bad season, like the Yankees, okay? When the Yankees are having a bad season, losing season, people are off of it. But the others, bandwagon. They will be on the bandwagon. So it wasn't so much that Tony Khan had a bandwagon. They just had people that wanted to just have something else like, oh, here's the upstart. We should go be with the part of the upstart. And when the upstart's now just normal, yeah, we're going to move back. But see, fans like me that are very accepting, and I have a bit of a curve on things and how things work out. Because I lived through WCW in the years through 98 to 2001, or 99 to 2001, where things just went to shit. And I watched all that. And I watched a number of years of train wreck TNA going into Impact Wrestling. Okay? It's just the way it was. So, regardless of what you think, we still needed to have another organization. I mean, TNA did try, but they weren't going to go and succeed. But AEW has. They are the definitive number 2 company right now. You can't say TNA. Look, TNA does not have the resources to sustain the talent. Look at what happened when they had to go to Genesis. And the fact of the matter is that, I mean, I don't know if Josh Alexander has signed a new contract or not. I don't even know. But they have something new right now. Plus, you have to deal with PCO leaving the company because his contract was up. Jordan Grace also leaving because her contract was up because she's WWE bound. Not at the Royal Rumble because she already made a mention she's going to be celebrating her mother's birthday. So no plans on that. That's where she is on that altogether. Back at the James point, he says that as for this toxic fan base, wrestling helped create it. I'm going to correct. I will say social media created it. The only reason we have this now is because of social media, the message boards, in-person ranting on each other didn't even happen like this. I mean, the keyboard warriors to this level have gotten so vitriol. And we're going to showcase a couple of examples on that tonight because there's quite a bit going on that is just unthinkable. But there are some people out there that are in the juvenile and delusional fandom that are just doing some things that are just uncalled for. Real attacking and just some things that are just being called out to the mat. And I'm like, this should not be happening, but it is. And it's probably unavoidable because more people are going to be doing it as they feel more accustomed and more comfortable doing it because they don't feel like they're going to be responsible for it or they're not going to have any consequences for it or any repercussions. Now, he says that they constantly spit in the face of fans who are more rational and just wanted an entertaining product, and the feds act like they're embarrassed that the fan base would even ask for that. The point is, the promotions should have their own direction, and the fans should just take it. Because to have the fan input like it is, it's fine to take in fan input, to consider it. But you don't take them at their word and say, this is what we want. It's not working. And won't work either. So he says basically that the fandom has taken the joy out of wrestling like a vampire does blood from a neck. As such, the business is reflecting what they pander to and deserves all the misery it has inflicted upon itself, as do those fans for their behavior. It's just a shame a few of the rational ones left have to suffer through it. I think I'm pretty rational about this. And I don't care about the criticism. I'm not that big on the criticism when it comes to me. It's fine. I think one thing was that I proved to myself this year was that at least I can find some good in wrestling, which is why I did the podcast on Saturday night. Because when I saw something in both promotions, I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Because that's good signs right there. Have to find some of the good. Have to find something there. And then finally he says that I decided after the Netflix debut to stop watching. I listened to this podcast and a few others here or there. Thanks, James. But that's it. And do you know what? I have felt a lot happier, for I don't have to worry about a business that cares neither for me or itself, quite frankly. I suggest that all the others do the same and enjoy their DVDs, magazines, etc. from the old days. I mean, there are going to be some of those that are going to be part of this toxicity that want to just stay. So, James, I'm sorry you're not going to feel like it's going to be in this. That's okay. I mean, wrestling's still going to be wrestling, and I can always tell you there's other wrestling out there that's great. It's just it's tough for it to go and continue to move along. MLW only has so much content they can put out there on a regular basis. NWA, the same thing, because, their production schedules can't really fathom it. So keep that in mind, too. It's tough. And there are other shows to find, but they're also kind of hard to find as well. Now, the other comments I got all came from what I talked about with Saturday night and all the mentions that were going on when it comes to everything. The other one I got was on both sides. Callie Goulad writes, Jacob Fatu's on a different level in an entirely different building. He's that good. Yeah, Jacob Fatu, like I said, I can't give enough praise to the man and how good he is. And maybe they're going to do something with him. Look, put him in some featured feuds and work him to the title picture. It's time to do that now. If they don't feel like doing that so much when it comes to what they're going to do with the Usos, right? Jey Uso, they're not going to put into that main event title picture to be a world champion. They already tried to do that with his match with Gunther, but I could totally see Jacob Fatu being up there. And that's something they might go and consider. And then Paul Watson, 3025, says the Tomlin segment was awesome, and it was. And I'm glad that on Dynamite, it was made mention of from what happened on Collision, and that Tony Storm segment was wonderful, just to go and see that. And their plan is now Tony Storm's going to be a Collision focus. Okay, that's fine. That's what they decided to do. They want to go and get some more eyeballs onto the Collision, which got to over 200,000 viewers. Fine. I don't even know what Saturday Night's Main Event got after all was said and done. I didn't even check what that was. What we did get was, like I said, 250,000 viewers on TNT for Collision, which was a decline for them, 27%. And as for Saturday Night's Main Event, as I said, it's 1.4 1.94 million viewers, 0.33 rating among 18 to 49-year-olds. So it did go down 6%. As I said, they broke 2 million viewers for the initial broadcast. We don't know what the Peacock numbers are, but still 1.49 million viewers, roughly 1.5, we'll round up. That's what they got on Saturday night, prime time. Yep, not good. Now, they will say the fact that what was going on against wrestling on Saturday night is that there was an NBA game, prime time, Lakers and Warriors, at over 3 million viewers for that. And there was a college basketball doubleheader that also outperformed both shows, getting roughly 1.75 million viewers or 1.7 million viewers respectively. So, yeah, wrestling took a back seat to what was going on everywhere else. So that's also the part that's not very promising. But again, it's network TV. And wrestling is just not the same kind of live sport as everything else is. But yeah, 2 live sports, and they underperformed to college basketball and NBA. Well, that's probably going to happen. That's what it is. And there's more comments here about Jacob Fatu. Road Dogs Indy wrote that the crazy thing about Jacob Fatu is that he has a ridiculous arsenal of super cool moves, but he hasn't even done half of them yet. I wonder if he's injured, possibly aged out, or if WWE has not allowed him to showcase those moves. And then Paul Watson 3025 chimes in, says that some of it I believe was MLW allowing him to do more, and some of it saved for bigger matches. I've wanted to see him as well. And then I wrote and said that there's a lot more he could be doing, that's for sure, based on what he's done in the past. I still think about the match he had at Ric Flair's last match against Josh Alexander and how well he did. That's obviously when he really got some mainstream eyeballs on him. And at least they're letting him cut the kind of promos he did in MLW. Now he just needs to break free from Solo, have them feud, and then push him to the title picture. Posey Man 1 says Jacob is a superstar of the making. WWE has to break him free from Solo. Would love to see him become champion over Gunther. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Gunther's going to be the opponent. I think if he's going to take any title right now, it would be Cody Rhodes. But my guess is that the conventional wisdom for WWE and probably for Triple H and the mindset over there is, oh no, Jacob Fatu, we're going to wait on him. We're not going to take him right away. They're going to hold off, and they don't want to go ahead and use him as they are. They just don't want to do that. Now, for the record, Jacob Fatu is 32 years old. So he's not necessarily young, but like he's been around a number of years. And remember, he had issues with, prison and all. And like he just was a different place. But like I said, everybody was like really high on him right now. And we want to see where he goes. And again, when it comes to Fatu and what he's done, like it's a great, like he's 285 pounds right now, was much heavier before and still moved around great. But then everything changed. And for him, it's like that guy got himself in incredible shape. And you already could kind of tell. Once he got himself in shape in MLW and he had his matches with Hammerstone, man, I could have told you, I was afraid already then. I think he even said back then, yeah, I'm afraid Jacob Fatu is going to get picked up. I don't want him to go. I don't want him to go to the WWE because I don't know if they're going to use him right. But they have. So I'm glad I don't have to go and worry about that. I'm glad it doesn't go in that route. That's a good thing to go and know. All right, let's go and move along to the influencers that are now involved and embedded into what we didn't need them to be a part of when it comes to the WWE. But like now we have Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed, who are arguably two of the biggest streamers right now in all of the internet. I mean, all of online right now, that's where we're at. And they featured Kai Cenat on Raw. Now, IShowSpeed already had been out there before with Logan Paul when they did things, but yeah, there's part of that. And I don't know if Kai Cenat being out there really made much of a difference, but let's go and play a couple clips of him being noticed in the crowd and being talked to by Pat McAfee. We're going to play that real quick.
And he said, Speed, I'll see you there as well. He and Speed stream online and millions of people watch them live. Some of the most electric human beings that have ever existed will be at the Royal Rumble.
Now, they didn't play any clips of Kai Cenat. Like, if you could have just taking a moment for a little bit of context so people know who it was. Like, show him being featured with Kevin Hart, or show him when he has fireworks blowing up in the closet, right, or in the home, in the bedroom, whatever. Like, why didn't you show who this guy is so that people know who it is? Show him when he's out in front among the masses. How about the thing he did in, what was it, Union Square in New York City when he tried to throw in money, right? And that whole kind of riot that happened to it. Like, why didn't you show who that was? And with IShowSpeed, why don't you show him when he's out there in Norway and he's got, like, you know, millions of people like following him, right? Or when he's, you know, jumping the 2 cars and all that stuff. Like, why didn't you go ahead and showcase who these people are? You're just assuming people know who they are. Especially your older fan base. They don't know about these people. You forget your average audience on Raw is like 50 years old. And I don't think it's much changed when you moved over to Netflix, okay? So you are assuming people know who Kai Cenat is. And he comes out there. Well, let's see what kind of response he got. He got some kind of a response. So, like, people were in there, I guess. So the crowd did give some kind of response. And that was Atlanta because that's his hometown. That's why it worked out like it did. Now, here's on to Pat McAfee and speaking to Kai Cenat, trying to get him to kind of work up a good promo so that you can set up something of the Royal Rumble that obviously the company wants to go and do. They want to go ahead and use and utilize the fandoms that Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed had that apparently are wrestling fans, and see if they could draw some of their fandom over to this. But again, once you have those folks jumping in with the wrestling kind, the toxicity will be wild. Here's what Pat McAfee did with Kai Cenat.
And as a lifelong WWE fan, how has the night gone for you? And how did you feel after the massive pop you got when you came out here?
Oh my God, this is my first time at a match, and I'm having a blast. Atlanta, you guys are amazing!
Kai, we're obviously just a few days away from the Royal Rumble in Indianapolis. What are you looking forward to most in Indy on Saturday?
I'm looking forward to seeing our boy John Cena live in the flesh at the Royal Rumble.
Are you coming? If you're not, let me officially invite you to the city that I call home, the stadium that I called home, Lucas Oil Stadium, and you, just like Speed, will be able to do whatever the hell you want. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be there for sure. And I'm gonna see you too, Speed. Let's see what happens over there too.
There's no doubt in my mind these two are going to be featured in that Royal Rumble match. They're going to be entrants. Mark my words. Early on, they will be entrants in the Royal Rumble match. They're going to take some spots. Because who else do they have for spots, right? That are going to legitimately be a part of the match that we're going to see and say, oh, you know what? We're going to see them be a part of this. Listen, it's obvious who's going to be out there and who's going to be put into the match in the first place, okay? Let's not kid ourselves, okay? You already see the entrants that are already scheduled right now. They're the ones that are going to be most likely possible winners of the match. Okay, John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, Penta. So of all those names right there, pick those first 5 could very well all likely be the winners. Because I don't think they're going to go and give us anyone in the Royal Rumble that's going to be an outside dark horse favorite. I don't expect it at all. My guess is it'll be CM Punk. But I absolutely believe that we will have both Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed. Listen, they're agile. They're more or less athletic. They could go in there and have a quick jump in there, have them have a confrontation face to face. Something like that happens. They don't have to be with anybody else in the ring, and they just get thrown out. That's it. Like, it just very, very well could just be that. No big deal. And you give them to somebody that's just going to toss them out. I could expect that. But the one thing is that it's the brand WWE that's going to be the reason for people to watch, right? It's being made very clear. It's not so much about the stars. It's the brand that is going to make the difference. Because the stars that they've been using are not getting any younger. Look at the ages of some of the stars we have right now as we speak. So CM Punk right now is 46 years old. Sheamus is 46. Randy Orton's 44. And I don't know if he's wrestling right now, so at this point. Rey Mysterio is 50 years old. The Miz is 44. Kofi Kingston 43. Seth Rollins 38. Roman Reigns 39. Charlotte Flair is scheduled to be returning back to the Royal Rumble in that match and try to vow for a women's title. She's 38. Bayley is 35. Asuka's 43, and we're not going to see her right now. And there's some things we're going to talk about that. The fact that there are apparently some fans out there that are making her. It looks like she has some apparent stalkers out there. I don't know what's going on, but that's just not good. Kevin Owens is 40 years old. They're not getting much younger. So that's fine, but we are getting an older roster. It's a little bit older than normal, and it wasn't like that a couple of years ago, but no change in the guard at the very top. And that's what's going to happen. And Drew McIntyre also near 40, I think, as well. So we have to keep that all into perspective as what is going on. The young aspect of this is going to be the influencers. It's pretty obvious now. They want to have the influencers be the focus of trying to get a younger demographic to watch. It's not the wrestlers they have, because the younger wrestlers they have right now, they're not getting much out of. They're not getting much track record from them. Carmelo Hayes or Leo Vaqueria or, whoever else. They are kind of limited on who they have right now to do something with. That's what they're really going through right now. Now, the reason why we could see Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed in the first place is because of Logan Paul. And it's pretty obvious Logan Paul now returning back and also being part of this. He is one of the young guns right now that's being very much a focus on bringing more younger viewers to the product. But for the most part, they're going to see a lot of older stars when it comes to the Royal Rumble compared to everybody else. When you look at the card that we have this weekend, besides the fact we have the Royal Rumble match, which will have some younger stars, but we know they're not going to win. When you look at the rest of the card, it's Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens for the ladder match for the undisputed WWE Championship. No World Heavyweight title on the line. That's not going to happen. That will not be defended. Tag team titles will be on the line. 2 out of 3 falls with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, DIY against Motor City Machine Guns. Yeah, those guys are not much younger either. Let's just be honest with that as well. And there wasn't that much of a buzz, except on social media, for Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed about their setup. There wasn't much more about that. It was just like, okay, here it is. But you are kind of working off the fact that you hope that the pull that both of these streamers are able to go and do to get more people to go and watch. I mean, they obviously get an audience out there, but are they going to just watch them, or are they just really accustomed to, are they going to follow these streamers to WWE to watch and see what they're going to do? That's the part you got to ask yourself. Are they able to do that? Because when they have done things with those, it's like, okay, well, they're in their hometown and they can like interact with them. Like, what's going to happen here? I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get that much of a response off of this, but we'll see what happens anyway when they get to it. As for Dynamite tonight, I'm going to talk about this. So the Will Ospreay Brian Cage match was set up, and then Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega get thrown down by the Don Callis family. But again, that's all being set up for the Grand Slam Australia event coming up in a couple weeks. And you have Jeff Jarrett against Claudio Castagnoli. For everybody I know, they're all kind of like upset about Jeff Jarrett being a part of this. For me, he still can work. He's not looking, he really totally slows down out there. His promos are good. And I do think that him getting caught up with the MJF stuff and losing the match for the contendership so that you have a chance to be going after the world champion. Okay, that didn't happen. Fine. That setback came in. And then MJF also puts a further setback. Ricochet and AR Fox have their deal, but then we also know that we're going to have things going on with Swerve Strickland there. That setup's going to be going on with them soon enough. Wheeler Yuta and Jay White, because of course the Death Riders dynamic there. They wanted to put another match that goes along with it. And then we see the Guns are going to be returning back pretty soon, which is nice. They're going to get back a return. See what they're going to become going when they can get themselves back. Collision's got to set up for matches. They got the 3-way match for the TNT title. Daniel Garcia against Kyle O'Reilly and Lee Moriarty. Issues with STP, United Undisputed Kingdom, and Garcia and Daddy Magic. And then we'll have, among other things, but either which way, TBS title match. Fine, Mercedes Moné is able to get her win over Yuka Sakazaki, but the next opponent that looks like it's going to be coming up for her will be, looks like Deonna Purrazzo, for what it all looks like, from all measures, all indications. Real quickly, I'll do a quick prediction. I'll say Motor City Machine Guns will retain the tag team titles. Cody Rhodes will beat Kevin Owens in the ladder match. Again, CM Punk will win the Royal Rumble. And I will say Charlotte Flair will win the Royal Rumble, and she'll probably go up against Tiffany Stratton. And as for CM Punk, he'll probably go up against Gunther. Or Cody Rhodes. But I don't know. We'll figure it out. Now, I already talked about Asuka, and there was the issues right now that she's been kind of in fear of things because of some of the comments being said about her, which is really shitty. Come on, guys. Leave her be. There's also the part of a Discord server, and one of the people that operates this Discord server, that runs this Discord server, also worked for one of the dirt sheets, of which he was featured on programming there. And hey, man, he got in trouble. A lot of things were going on with him because the word was he was talking about AEW backstage, some of the drama that was going on there in his Discord server, and spread false information about wrestlers. And some of those that he talked about included Christian Cage, Swerve Strickland, Jon Moxley, Bobby Lashley, Thunder Rosa, and Mariah May, and Britt Baker, of which he had to apologize for. We talked about that part recently, so we talked about that as well. But now he has been canceled by the toxic, juvenile, delusional wrestling fandom. Let's just put that point clear as well. Here's some interesting information. The current cheapest ticket available for WrestleMania 41 is $700 in the nosebleeds, Allegiant Stadium, single day. Most expensive single day ticket right now is $15,000, not including fees. Trust me, wait till you find out what fans are going to be in attendance. I will just say this. For the wrestling fandom that decides to go this year, for wherever you're going to be going, to go to Vegas, play. Play in the casinos, be there a little bit early, and play a bit. And hopefully you'll get yourself some comps so you can make sure you can get the tickets you want if you haven't gotten them already. Just saying. Might as well take advantage of that if you have the money and the wherewithal. The Asuka conversation, she said earlier today on X, I've been feeling in danger recently. I've already consulted the police. At this rate, even if fans approach me at the airport or in the city, I will feel the possibility that something might happen and it will scare me, making me unable to respond. Something's going on there. I don't know. We don't know what it was that actually created it here, but she says that don't have romantic feelings for me. It's meaningless, 100% pointless. And she says, I absolutely reject any romantic or personal approaches toward me. There's absolutely no possibility for others to interfere in my private life. I don't know what's going on there, but it's really something else. Now, the other thing that was also being praised this week is the fact that NXT pulled in 827,000 viewers. Well, you had two matches where you had Julia and Bayley team up together to defeat Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. So again, Bayley, big star, you already had her on. That was that part. The other thing you also had was Bianca Belair and Naomi in featured action against Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson. You had main event stars on the product, on the women's side, that were NXT. Of course they were going to go up a bit. When you have main event stars there anyway of that stature, yeah, they're going to get a bump in audience. That's just what they're going to do. But take those off, 600,000 viewers. Pretty much. That's how it kind of sets up. So, okay, I will be doing a post show for Royal Rumble this Saturday. And again, 6 o'clock start time? Really? Why are we starting so early? But nevertheless, they're going to do it anyway like that. we'll leave it there. And I'll come back and do that. We'll do another Saturday show. Fine. Works for me. So enjoy Royal Rumble this weekend. We'll come back for a recap on it right here on the Wrestling Observer Podcast, because wrestling needs us.